G'day, thanks for watching. Thought we'd have a look at the Dow as well as the S&P and the Nasdaq because we've got some divergence, which is a little bit interesting at tops. So I've brought some data in here to the Dow weekly, and we've got new all-time highs. Prices also reached the previous FLD forecast, the 20-week FLD forecast. It hasn't got all the way up to the 40-week FLD forecast. We're in a zone now for the 40-week low. In the period from the 2nd of November through to Christmas, effectively, 21st of December. And that's a broad zone. Let's have a look on the daily. I've also brought some data in on the daily. New all-time highs. And this 20-day FLD projection has almost been met. And we're not very far off the 40-week low zone, which is a tighter zone on the daily. But just because it's tighter doesn't guarantee that we're going to get a low in that zone. It just means get ready. So somewhere between the 17th of November through to the 24th of November. And the centre of that zone's the 21st of November. So that's all very interesting, but let's have a look at the S&P. Bring some data in. And we've certainly got a lift out, which is more substantial than this little 20-day low that we had back here. I'm not sure that that's actually correct. Well, we'll update cycles and see if CycleMaster changes its mind. Because out here we've got quite a large plunge and bounce. Now, what's the possibility? Well, one possibility is that this low, which occurred on the 7th of November, could be the 40-week low. Now, I put that at a very low percentage of likelihood, but it's possible. And certainly if the S&P and the Nasdaq continue to the upside and break all-time highs, then it becomes more probable. At this stage, I'm more inclined to believe that it's actually the 20-day low. But for this to be the case, we would need to see the S&P and the Nasdaq tip over and drop into later November. Let's put it that way. I'll just update cycles and see what this looks like. Now, of course, what that's done is it has skewed this 40-week zone over here. It's actually stretched it out to the right-hand side if we were to include the 20-day orb as well. So the right-hand side of that orb, that's taking us all the way out to late November. So that's a possibility that we still have the 40-week low to come. Have a look at the Nasdaq. Bring in some data. And as you can see on the Nasdaq, the same as the S&P, we haven't got new all-time highs. Now, is it possible that this low on the 7th of November is the 40-week? Well, it's fractionally early. It's not overly significant in terms of a drop, but it's possible. And it becomes probable if we get new all-time highs on the S&P and on the Nasdaq, as we have with the Dow. On the other hand, there's still plenty of time for price to drop into the 40-week zone. Here on the Nasdaq, that's somewhere between the 13th and the 18th of November, and we're right in the edge of that zone at the moment. The midpoint is the 16th of November. And again, that's just a time zone to keep an eye on. Okay. Thanks for watching.